Welcome to the Fantasmagorium show. On today's show, Hayley Atwell is the new Lara Croft. And I, for one, say, humana, 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 va 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 boom. There is a new Predator movie? It wrapped filming? Who's directing it? Holy crap. And Shang-Chi is at the top of the box office charts for the second week in a row. Let's go.
And we are live.
Ahoy, Steve. How are you doing on this fine Monday the 13th?
I'm good. How are you? How was your weekend?
It was good. It was all right. I was mostly sober. I did some stuff with the fam, hung out a bit. I watched some movies. It was good. Nothing new. It was more just going over stuff. I saw Assassin's Creed for the first time, actually.
Really?
Yeah. No.
Is it as bad as people say it was? Because I stayed away.
It wasn't that bad, but I was watching it on TV, so it's like I don't expect much when there are commercials.
Sure. I watched some new. I watched a couple of new things and some stuff that was new to me. I watched Kate, which was good. I liked it. Yeah. It's a good kind of Yakuza revenge movie. I thought it was pretty good. I liked it. I think it's sitting at like number 1 on Netflix chart right now. So other people I think are liking it too. So that's pretty cool. I fell down this cool rabbit hole. So every once in a while, I really like documentaries of all stripe and kind. Mm-hmm. And there's this documentary that I've known of for probably 4 or 5 years, but I've been kind of just skipping it around when I see it on the streaming services because it's mostly what I thought was kind of a ghost hunt, and I'm not big into. I like the paranormal stuff, especially alien stuff. I'm super into, but the ghost hunting is kind of usually it's pretty boring in that you never really get much at the end of it, right? Yeah. So it's kind of boring. It's whatever. So. But I saw that it had this thing. It was called Sir No Face, and Sir No Face had a sequel. And I'm kind of reading the synopsis of the sequel. I'm like, wait, this sounds pretty fucking interesting. Let me go back and watch this first one. So I queue it up on the Amazon, check it out, and it turns out to be, I think, one of the coolest ghost story hunts I've ever seen. In fact, they were touting it as the most the most historical ghost hunt or footage of a full-bodied apparition ever caught on tape. And not only because it was just caught on tape, but in the manner in which it was caught on tape. It was sanctioned and kind of supplied the access and money, they said, the guys that actually never got paid, by the Australian government to go to Cockatoo Island and do this. Dude, I know, right? It's so this hour and a half, hour 45-minute movie goes by, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, and it wraps up. I'm like, this is really interesting. So I'm like, okay, let's queue up the part 2 and see what the hell this is, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and then the part 2 starts going, and so it's basically the beginning of the movie is them, the filmmaker, the documentarian, and kind of the subject, he leads the paranormal team that did the study, right?
Sure. Yeah.
It's them kind of touring the film, touring the movie. Mm-hmm. And the Q&A sessions at the end were all about, they were asking questions all about the movie. But when it came to the actual what they saw, and you have to watch it to kind of understand what I'm talking about. So what they thought was a full-bodied apparition, 6-foot tall man or thing or whatever it was. Turns out that it was because of the camera angle was actually a 3.5 foot tall kid. They thought like a 6-year-old.
Okay.
But it was not. It had human kind of
proportions,
but the face was, I mean, it was definitely not human. So so these guys thought they had captured a ghost, but in the Q&A sessions all over the country, people are like, you didn't capture a ghost, man. You caught an alien. That's a gray alien. And they're like, what do you mean? And then they're like, wait a minute. So this whole second movie is about all this strange shit that happened while they were filming the first movie.
Cool.
That didn't make any sense to them because they were hunting ghosts, not aliens.
Okay.
So there's all this. So they had all this other footage and weird shit that was happening. So it turns out, not only that, they had a third movie on top of that.
Oh,
and
wow.
and then and the 1 hour prelude to a movie they're going to shoot in 2022.
Cool.
And it's really cool. So watch Sir No Face, and then I think the second one is called Two-Face the Gray.
Okay.
And then I can't remember what the third one is. I'd have to look about. I should have had this prepared. I didn't know I was going to actually really talk about this today, but you gave me.
Do we ever have a plan? Come on.
Well, usually, but you did give me a great opportunity to talk about this cool documentary series, and so I fell down the rabbit hole. I watched like 4.5 hours of this stuff on Saturday morning, and it was fascinating. And I'm looking forward to his next film, because the final one in this series, it's weird because it's the Australian government's involved, and then they meet this weird dude who gives them a bunch of stuff and sends them down this other kind of tract. And he's got like an insider contacts him and starts giving him all this information. It's really dope. So if you haven't followed, I can't remember the filmmaker's name offhand. Like I said, it's not something I've studied. It's just, I just happened to, kind of go down this rabbit hole, and it was fascinating, dude.
It sounds really cool. And also, like, I don't want to get too October ahead of the curve or anything,
Yeah.
but that does sound like a rabbit hole to go through down Halloween season.
Totally.
I was looking for ghosts, and all I found was this stupid alien.
Right. And it opens up this whole weird chain of events that happens because they switch. Mm-hmm. I think the powers that be were fine with them thinking it was a ghost, mm-hmm. because who cares? But this alien thing, that's a whole different thing, right?
Yeah.
And then weird stuff starts happening to both of these guys' families. It's insane. Wow. And it's a documentary. This isn't fiction. It's, I mean, we'll see at the end.
Yes.
But I mean, so far, dude, it's pretty cool. It's if nothing else, it's super entertaining, and that's why we watch these kind of things. And so that was my Saturday. And then I watched Kate, and then I watched. I started back on. I had left off on American Horror Story in season 5, I think it is.
Okay.
The hotel one, Hotel Cortez. Yeah. I left off at right about the 3/4 mark of that. So I picked it back up and started watching that. I'm going to watch that all the way through into the new ones, the horror stories, and then the new season, because the new horror stories I thought looked good, and the horror story season 10, I think it is now, looked pretty good. So I did that this weekend. That was my weekend. It was pretty awesome. And then had a nice Zoom call with you and Kat and the rest of the crew to Fantasmagorium.
Yeah, it was almost like a staff meeting, but more fun.
Yeah,
it was like a picnic.
Yeah, it was like a picnic in the morning yesterday. So yeah, that was good times. Good.
Oh,
anyways, with that kind of out of the way. Sorry, that's it was a 10-minute opening, but.
Yeah, it's fine. Sir No Face and the Two-Face the Gray are a back.
Yeah, and then there's 2 more, and I can't remember what they are. But you look at the filmmaker's IMDb, and you know what? During the show, I'll find it and I'll put it in the link. I'll put the link in the chats for everybody. Like we do every day, please like, share, subscribe, do all those things. Hit the little bell. All that stuff helps. Like we always say, we love subscriptions, but actually better for us to grow the channel is all the the engagement, the interaction. So like, share, comment, and those things really, really do help. And if you'd like to send in a tip with your comment and question, please do so. www.streamelements.com/phantasmagorium-show/tip. We also have a website. Catch our audio-only podcast link there, along with all our shows and our merch store, which you can find shirts, hoodies, mugs, all kinds of goodies. Do that, www.phantasmagoriumshow.com/shop. And I think that'll do it, Scotty. We can jump into the news.
Oh, it's been so long. I don't know if I know how to do news anymore. Domestic 2021 weekend results for weekend number 37, September 10th.
Yeah, so no surprise, but Shang-Chi did lead the weekend, but it led the weekend in a big bad way. So it came in at I'm sorry, I think this is a little small for me. There you go. $35.786 million, which is huge for a second weekend.
Yeah, especially now. Yeah.
Everybody was expecting this to not make much this weekend. I think a lot of the detractors were like, yeah, but wait till the second weekend drop off, because usually on these big tent poles it's like 60% or more. This one took a 52.5% drop, which is low. It's not super low, but it's low for a Marvel movie. Usually Marvel movies take huge hits, 55, 58, 60, 61. So to do that, and just to kind of put it in a relative term here, the number one spot, Shang-Chi, 35 million. The number two slot was Free Guy, 5 million. So it made $30 million more than the number two. Huge second weekend box office.
Also, it should be pointed out that Free Guy is in its fifth week in cinemas now, and so I'm actually rather impressed with Free Guy being able to hold on at number two for 5 weeks after having a really strong initial outing. Now it's only at a total gross at 101 million, ballpark 102 million. And Shang-Chi after its second week is at $145 million, probably going to surpass the domestic for Black Widow. Would be my less than stellar estimate, but it makes sense.
No, it does make sense because look, so the big question was this weekend, would it have legs? And I think with a 35 million is just about where the studio predicted its first weekend would be. So for that to be the second weekend to come in, that's huge in my opinion. Now, you everybody's running around today with their Shang-Chi's flop question mark stuff, all their thumbnails, but no, it's not a flop. Definitely not a flop. No. Will it make its money back and like pre-pandemic stuff? No. But it'll probably break even or come close. It's going to do better than Black Widow. I think that in this climate, I think Disney and Marvel are super stoked at how this performed, and they actually believe Eternals is a better movie and will do better. So that's remains to be seen.
We shall see. Yeah,
we shall see. So great. And here's a couple things that happened. One, no day and date. This was theatrical release only, right? And word of mouth. Make a great movie and people will go see it. And then they'll tell all their buddies to go see it. And their friends and family to go see it. So make good stuff, I think we saw that with Free Guy too. Yeah. Make a good movie, the fun movie that people want to see, and they'll pay their money, they'll shove popcorn in their face, and then they'll tell everybody how good it was. And I think we're seeing that with Shang-Chi, we're seeing that with Free Guy, and hopefully we see that with more movies here yet to be released for the rest of the year. Let's just round this out real quick. Malignant came in third, which this was a little bit of a surprise for me, with 5.57, just under the Free Guy. 5.57 million. That's on 3,485 screens plus its release on HBO Max. So that's a day and dater. It look like it. That might have if it was in theaters only, may have been the number 2 in the box office this weekend because of. I mean, we're only talking about 300,000 or so in box office receipts difference between Malignant and Free Guy. So I think that probably would have done better with a theatrical only release. But it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Hard to tell. I did not. I was going to try to see this. I did not. I was getting my horror elsewhere this weekend. Number 4 in the number 4 slot, Candyman. Candyman makes another 4.83 million. Jungle Cruise at the number 5 slot, 2.4 million. Paw Patrol hanging in there in the number 6 slot with another $2.2 million.
Go Chase.
Right. Don't Breathe 2 in number 7 slot with 1.15 million. The Card Counter opened up. So this is really good. So the Card Counter made $1.1 million. There's almost no marketing budget at all, and only opened in 580 theaters. So that is a very large per screen average. That actually is average the best over the top 10 weekend. In fact, it beat Shang-Chi and Free Guy's average and Malignant's average with $1,896 dollars per screen.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Impressive.
So this is a movie that I would love to see. I probably will see as soon as I can make it out and it comes to my theater. But I totally want to see this one for sure. Just about anything with Oscar Isaac in it, I will go see.
Yeah.
Especially now, he's hitting his stride and just galloping on. Number 9 slot was Show Me the Father, which was not on my radar at all. Made 700,000.
It's that new Maury Povich film.
Maury Povich.
Never mind. Moving on.
Okay. And rounding out your top 10 is Respect with another $500,000.
For a total of $23,100,000 after 5 weeks of release.
Yeah, not too bad. We didn't expect a lot from those kind of musical biopics. I think they live more on the streaming services. That's just my opinion, anyways.
And they usually get second life around award season.
Award season, yeah, absolutely. So they may even re-release this, top of the year, bottom of the year, top of the next year. Anyway, so that's your top 10 for the weekend. Great, pretty good box office. I mean, obviously Shang-Chi just running away with it. Yes. Everybody wanted to go see what all the hubbub was about, I guess.
Well, and also, like, someone new being introduced to the Marvel Universe is interesting for anyone to see, also with the 10 Rings, because that's something that's been planted into audiences, Marvel fans' minds ever since the first Iron Man. And it's been getting good reviews. Simu Liu is being heralded as quite a charismatic protagonist. And the antagonist is also apparently a fan favorite as not the Mandarin.
Yeah, well,
I know, no spoilers. Yes. You have to see it for yourself. That's all.
Right. Tony Leung. Leung. Yeah, he's awesome. It's very well acted. I love the film. I thought the film was amazing. So, if you haven't seen Shang-Chi, we'll see how well it does next weekend at the box office.
Yes, we shall.
Next up, Hayley Atwell to voice Lara Croft in Netflix's Tomb Raider anime series.
Hayley Atwell. I apologize, lady. I got excited and I stumbled over your name. Hayley Atwell, who is part of the Marvel Universe as Agent Peggy Carter and who is next up in Mission Impossible 7, has been cast as the voice of Lara Croft in Netflix and Legendary's Tomb Raider anime series. It is based on the Square Enix action-adventure video game that has spawned comic books and 3 feature films with a 4th on the way. The anime series, first announced in January, will pick up after the video game reboot trilogy and follow the heroine 25 years after her first game, which appeared as she explores new territory. Tomb Raider will be written by Tasha Huo, who also wrote The Witcher Blood Origin and Red Sonja, who is executive producing with DJ2 Entertainment founder and CEO Dimitri M. Johnson of Sonic the Hedgehog fame. Stefan Bugaj and Howard Bliss. Jacob Robinson, pardon me, will be an executive producer via his company, Tractor Pants.
Tractor Pants. So that's cool.
That is very cool. The only thing I'm disappointed by is the fact that it is going to be an anime. I would love to see Hayley Atwell as Lara Croft, but we do have the new film coming out, and I am assuming that's still going to be, what's her name?
Alicia Vikander.
That's the lady.
Yep.
She's coming back for that, which is, I know you're a fan of that. I haven't seen a Lara Croft movie that I haven't liked, and I will tune in for the dulcet tones of Hayley Atwell. I like her visually, and I like her auditorially.
Yes, yeah. I mean, this seems cool. This doesn't really interest me that much, a Tomb Raider anime, but I mean, great to get Hayley Atwell because she's got a great voice, a tremendous actor, and loved her as Peggy Carter. So we'll see what she does there.
In terms of her voiceover work, she did really well on the first episode of What If as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
yeah, good on her. That's good news. What's next?
Peacemaker first look reveals John Cena's new squad.
Director James Gunn was in post-production on The Suicide Squad when he came up with the idea for a TV show about one of the movie's many characters who we didn't get to know as well. We didn't get to know as well. I don't think they.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, it doesn't make sense in my head, but maybe I just read it wrong.
One of the characters we didn't get to know as well.
As well as some of the other characters. John Cena's supervillain Peacemaker, whose superpower is a willingness to commit terrible acts in the name of peace, which he does. I love this 1970s Captain America TV when I was a kid, says Gunn. I thought making a really effed up version of that Peacemaker would be fun. The problem, warning, this is for massive The Suicide Squad spoilers. So, plug your ears or tune away if you haven't seen it. In the big screen tale about a group of convicts sent on a dangerous mission by Viola Davis, Amanda Waller, Gunn had killed off Peacemaker. And the director is not a fan of characters apparently dying and then being brought back to life. Marvel. As the director, eventually he overcame his reservations and added a post-credit scene to the Suicide Squad where two of Waller's underlings, Jennifer Holland's Harcourt and Steve Agee, Economos, I think, visit a comatose but alive Peacemaker in the hospital. I did exactly the thing I hate when other filmmakers do it, admits Gunn. But I did it, and I have to live with the repercussions, which is the most incredible TV show people will ever see. So the 8-episode HBO Max series, which premieres in January, centers on Black Ops combating something catastrophic that's facing the planet, Gunn says, leading Peacemaker, Harcourt, and Economos, that's a weird name, to team up with the three new characters. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it there. There's a little more, but it doesn't really tell us much in the way of what's going to happen there. Kind of another vigilante team. So we kind of get our first kind of hints at what Peacemaker is going to be. Are you looking forward to Peacemaker at all, Scotty?
Not particularly. Again, no. And it's just because I don't know enough about it. I am yet to see The Suicide Squad. That's
why.
So it's not that it's because I have lack of exposure to Peacemaker at all.
Yeah. That's why. I think you'll. So two things. I do think you'll like The Suicide Squad. Because I know you're a James Gunn fan, so I know you're going to like the movies really good. And And two, the Peacemaker character is good. I'm not a huge fan of John Cena's acting. I don't think he's very good. He's very hit and miss, but he was good in this one. So he this is a character he understands, and I think was written to his strengths. Thank you, James Gunn. And I think that's exactly what this TV show should be and will be, I assume. So good on the Peacemaker. I didn't realize it was coming that quick. So in January, that's awesome. I'm ready for it. I know we saw the that fandom poster they made was pretty cool. I'm like, all right, let's get to it. Anyways.
Well, it seems like every time there's an opening between lockdowns or heightened senses of personal safety, it's like, let's make it. Go faster. We don't know when we're getting shut down again.
Exactly. Olivia Wilde's Don't Worry, Darling sets fall 2022 release.
Don't Worry, Darling is a psychological thriller directed by Olivia Wilde and starring Florence Pugh and Harry Styles. It's scheduled to open in theaters next fall. The film is slated for September 23rd, 2022. Set in the 1950s, New Line Cinema's Don't Worry, Darling follows a housewife living with her husband in a utopian experimental community who begins to worry that his glamorous company may be hiding disturbing secrets. Wilde announced the release date on Monday morning, emphasizing the film will be in theaters only. She also shared a 10-second clip with footage of Pugh at the pool and later kissing Styles.
Yeah, so you can actually see that on our Facebook group page. So just go check that out if you're so. It's all over. You can find it. Just put in on YouTube too. Just put in "Don't Worry, Darling" teaser, and it'll come right up for you. Did you get a chance to see that little teaser?
I didn't get to see the clip. It's only 10 seconds, but
there's not much to it.
And with
Florence Pugh looks great in it. She always does for me. And it looks cool. I'm a big Olivia Wilde fan. Not only her acting, but her directing is pretty stellar.
Mm-hmm.
So and I'm looking forward.
Yeah, and with it may be a cliche, but strong female voices. It's nice to see someone who actually cut their teeth by doing episodic television and then graduated to film and then ultimately became has become a director. And I am looking forward to that. And it's it's a success story. Doesn't matter who they are, and so I'm happy for Olivia.
Yeah, she's doing great.
Succession finally gets season 3 debut date on HBO.
Finally, man. I binged watched the first 2 seasons just so I could watch this thing, and and then they made me wait. The series will return on October 17th, almost exactly 2 years after the last episode aired. Succession, at long last, has a firm premiere date on HBO after releasing a 9-minute-long teaser in July and saying in August that the series would begin its 3rd season in October. HBO has put Succession on the calendar. The Emmy-winning drama's 3rd season will premiere on October 17th, 2 years and 4 days after the last episode of the season 2 aired. I don't know if you are a Succession watcher, Scotty.
I don't have HBO. I am aware of it. I do like Brian Cox. It does seem like a modern day Knots Landing or Falcon Crest. That's what you thought, Michael. Right. But I enjoy that. I enjoy that sort of familial business intrigue. It is something that I've heard great things about.
It's really good. And this, it is good. I actually prefer Billions on Showtime. I don't have Showtime right now, but I do prefer that. But it's a really good show, and I don't know if this is going to be the last season. If they said this is going to be the last season, I don't think so. But it took a long time to get this season done, obviously with the pandemic and all that other stuff. So good on them for setting a date, and we're just about a month away, just over a month away. Moving on with more TV, Narcos Mexico to end with season 3 at Netflix.
The hit drug cartel drama sets a return date for its final season, which will conclude the Reset series and bring about the saga's first female narrator. Narcos Mexico is gearing up for its final chapter. Netflix's drug cartel saga will end with the previously announced third season of Narcos Mexico. The final 10-episode season releases November 5th. The Mexico Reset series will bring the Narcos franchise to its 6th season overall, as the cartel drama remains a top global performer for the streaming giant among its original series. Netflix does not release traditional viewership data.
They don't, but it's a wildly popular both Narcos and Narcos Mexico, which I like both. I actually really like the first one, but Narcos Mexico took me a while to get into. Took me a while to actually watch, not get into, but actually to get to watching it. Yeah, and then fell right into step with it. It's really good. It's really good. So I think it's good to keep it tight. 3 seasons of the first show, the regular Narcos, 3 seasons of the Narcos Mexico. Really cool. Were you able to see any of these? No HBO.
No, because this is a Netflix show, but this is.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, yeah.
This is one of those. This is, wow. I'm just batting zero today, but I don't really care about drug dealer movies, TV shows.
Right.
If I find one, like there are obvious the past ones that have been huge, like Traffic. And even Sicario, things like that, in terms of this sort of genre or milieu. When it comes to this stuff, I haven't seen it basically just because I'm put off by the subject matter.
Gotcha.
And it's just not really my cup of tea.
Got it. No worries. Thanks, I'll just say that this is a slight bent on that genre because it does follow historical people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it's obviously it's a dramatization, and we don't know the exact inner dealings and workings and conversations with these people, but it follows historical people and historical cartels and kind of plots along their ultimate demise, their rise and ultimate demise in many cases. So I do like that. I do like that it's more of a historical based in history show, which is good, but it's really good. I like that one a lot.
Moving on, Denis Villeneuve wanted to film his 2 Dune movies at the same time, but the plan got axed.
Making Dune Part 2 will be pure cinematic pleasure for Denis Villeneuve. Wow. This really pisses me off. So I want to read through this.
Okay.
And then we'll talk at the end because we'll talk at the end. Let me get through this real quick if I can.
Sure.
Filmmaker Denis Villeneuve agreed to direct Dune for Warner Brothers and Legendary on one condition: that the studios would allow him to split Frank Herbert's science fiction novel into 2 parts. The studio agreed, and thus Villeneuve's upcoming Dune begins with the title card that actually reads Dune Part 1. A second Dune film is now being written, but Warner Brothers has yet to officially greenlight the project. In a new interview with Variety, Villeneuve confirmed his original plan to film both Dune films at once. Think Peter Jackson shooting all 3 Lord of the Rings simultaneously. It says Villeneuve, let me start over. I wanted at the beginning to do this 2 parts simultaneously. For several reasons, it didn't happen. And I agreed to the challenge of making part 1 and then wait to see if the movie rings enough enthusiasm. As I was doing the first part, I really put all my passion into it in case it would be the only one, but I am optimistic, unquote. Villeneuve previously told Total Film magazine that greenlighting Dune Part 2 would depend on the financial success of Dune Part 1 at the box office. Given the continuing pandemic, it's a greater question mark now of how Dune Part 1 will perform. Warner Brothers is also launching the movie day and date in theaters and streaming on HBO Max, a decision that Villeneuve has condemned repeatedly over the last several months. The first thing, says, end quote, the first thing was to prove that there was a beautiful, popular movie that can exist. And I think that I proved that. Everybody at Warner Brothers and Legendary, they are 100% behind the project, unquote. Quote, they feel that it would need a really bad outcome at the box office to not have a Dune Part 2 because they love the movie. They are proud of the movie. So they want the movie to move forward. And they still did, and they still did half of it. So, I'm very optimistic, unquote. In this most recent interview with Variety, Villeneuve added, if such a thing as Dune Part 2 happens, I will say that it's going to be an insane playground for me. It's just going to be like pure cinematic pleasure for the second part. I don't want to speak for everybody on the team, but I will say that we really created on this movie a feeling of family, and to reunify everybody again together, that would be a paradise. Quote.
So why are you angry, buddy?
Well, yes, I am very pissed that Warner Brothers did not let them shoot this thing back to back. It should have been shot back to back. It makes sense to shoot it back to back. There's a bunch of pros. There's some cons. The only cons that I can think of that are major cons are it's hard to lock these actors into a 6 month instead of more of a 6 week or 8 week time period, because their schedules they fill up fast, especially when you're talking some of the hottest actors in the business right now.
Yeah.
But bottom line for the movie business is it saves them tons of money, tons of logistical nightmare stuff, and it's just a more cohesive thing when you're shooting, especially a 2-part movie.
Yeah.
Now, Muschietti did this with It.
Yes.
In chapters. And to me, the second part suffered a little bit from that. I think if he would have shot that back to back, that both movies would be insanely different, and the second part would be better. I could be wrong. There, but definitely they should have let him do this. They agreed to let him do this. Now, I don't know. Denis says for many reasons, or for several reasons, it didn't happen that way. Shooting it all at once. So I'm not privy to that insider information. But man, I hope it wasn't just the studio getting cold feet after they saw what happened with the 2049, with Blade Runner 2049, and started and started backing off and say, well, let's do this one part and then the second part later, just in case we have a flop. And audiences don't want the movie. I hope that's not the case, because if that's really the case, if they backed off and didn't let him do the movie the way they agreed to let him do the movie in the first place, and back to back and all at once, then that sucks.
Well, yes, but I can understand. I'm gonna sort of sit on the side of the studio on this one, although I agree with you in terms of the creative decision to film it back to back. You don't have to worry. Again, if all the sets are there, if it's on the planets, if you got the Arrakis, and you got all the things, all the actors are
logistics
there, all the costumes. Exactly. It just seems, and also if you can wrap the finances into one production company as opposed to having the two separate production companies, I get it. When it comes to, and it makes more sense logistically, we do have to identify the fact that there seemed to be a built-in audience for something that was widely renowned as one of the biggest underdogs, or as Turget would say, cult movie classics, as a box office flop from the early 80s with Blade Runner, and the audiences never turned up for whatever reason, whether it be runtime, whether it be just
the marketing was shit.
The marketing, whatever it was, that movie failed financially.
Yeah.
And that is something that the studios are going to take into account. I don't feel like it's appropriate to compare it to something like it, I think that the book, the structure of the book has more to do with the failure of the second movie than the second movie.
You could be right there. I pulled it just because it was the most recent example I could think
For sure.
of a two-parter. And you may be right. That and look, I'm willing to throw my hands up and say, yeah, you know, it's not an apples to apples comparison,
Mhm.
but I do think I do think I really do think it chapter 2 may have been better shot all at once, but that's neither here nor there. I think what I'm really pissed off at is what I'm construing as studio weakness and not interference this time, but
Mhm.
weakness on the part of studio executives that got weak in the knees and soft pedaled and pedaled, you know, back pedaled and said, no. You know, let's put the brakes on this. Let's not do two movies all at once.
Mhm.
You know, and I feel like it was based entirely or solely on the performance of Blade Runner 2049, which I think is horrible business move on their part.
But also,
But I don't know that that's the case. This is just me speculating.
And I just, again, in terms of hedging the bets and trying to be a little bit more cautious with it, Dune is not a tried, tested, and true property.
No.
That is not, it is not widespread. Like, if your casual fans
but
are aware that it exists.
I'll just point out that neither was Lord of the Rings.
But okay,
Nope.
Lord of the Rings, and I think that would be the most direct comparison in terms of it's one story, but it had the benefit of being sort of separated into 3 books already, so you could justify.
Yeah, but so is Dune.
Storytelling. Well, but this is from what I understand, and correct me when I'm wrong. Dune, it's the first book that is being separated into 2 parts. So
I believe so, but I do think there's elements of the third book in the second part of the movie. I could be wrong about that too, but yes.
Which is, and absolutely, but like I think that the biggest disappointment looking at this, and this is just my perspective of it, is knowing that it's going to be going day and date, and the possibility of a Dune chapter 2 is reliant on box office receipts, at which point the studio or HBO Max or whoever the hell made that decision is quite literally cutting it off at the knees.
Yep.
And especially, and also just another thing that popped into my noggin is, when was the last sprawling sci-fi epic that you know, or even just big budget science fiction movie that did gangbusters outside of, say, like, I don't know, Guardians of the Galaxy or something? Like, we've seen diminishing returns, at least critically. Like, the last one I can think of is Rise of Skywalker, and it didn't make as much as, like, it still made a bill. But like it,
yeah. But I mean, that's I wouldn't even. You can't really put that one.
No, and
you can't, because it's Star Wars, right? So
last Star Trek movie, Star Trek Beyond, was a failure. Like, in terms of the big high concept science fiction saga, and if we are going with like Villeneuve's track record, he likes to put his best foot forward to redeem the flops of the past to make an even bigger flop.
Mm-hmm.
That looks great, is critically acclaimed, will win Oscars, but ultimately these are the movies that are being made for people like us.
Yeah.
That other people don't even know what a dunk is.
Right. Well, and that's Well, and that's a problem. And that's where I believe the marketing failed miserably in 2049, because nobody knew what the hell the movie was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were banking on a nostalgia for a movie that flopped at the box office, which was a very bad marketing decision. And I hope people got fired for it.
Well, and also,
I don't really, but
going to 2049, part of the beauty of, like, I was there for opening night.
Me too.
I saw it, and I wanted it so badly in my eyeballs, and I watched it, and I heard the groans and whats coming from the people around me. And I even stood while the credits were going and people were walking past me, and I was the weirdo who didn't even work there saying, "So what'd you think of the movie?" And people are like, "It was long and it was boring and Harrison Ford took too long to show up." And I was like, "Well, you're an idiot."
It's funny because at my theater, the theater I saw it got a standing ovation.
Well, I live in, suburban Canada, so fuck them.
But
Sorry, Canadians, I'm not on your side.
But you're right. I mean, it's a masterpiece that nobody went to see. Or not enough people went to see. This is also, I believe, going to be similar. I do believe people are going to go see this. I think there are a lot more people who've read Dune than watched the home video or the DVD of Blade Runner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I do think it has that going for it. I think there's a good buzz. It's got, and I do think people that follow cast members from film to film, or actors from film to film, the cast members in the show, dude, you got the young with Zendaya and Timothée Chalamet. You got your mid tiers with the Oscar Isaacs, and then you got your Stellan Skarsgårds and
Momoa.
I mean, you got Momoa. I mean, it's a who's who almost. You got a Batista. You got a Brolin.
But yeah, but I heard Brolin doesn't really do much until the second year. At least that's what I heard from someone who is very knowledgeable.
So we'll see how that all kind of plays out. I hope, but that's why I'm pissed off, because I want to see the second part, and I think they should have just let it alone, let them do what they agreed to, and film both of these movies, because I want to see them both. It's just pure selfishness on my part.
Oh, and if you are going to make a movie with a required second part, like I believe that this is like a duology, and you are going to need to see the second one to fully appreciate the first one. And when they do make, and I'm going to say when, because I think that all of this is being factored in, especially the HBO. I think that as an acknowledgement of that business decision, they're kind of sort of are maybe to a certain extent somewhat pushed against the wall. I wouldn't say painted into a corner, but the back is against the wall, saying, well, we did release it this way and we do have half a story hanging here. Right. I think it would have to be an absolute
failure. Yeah. And, they could actually save this movie if they wanted to, and they just won't do it. All they had to do is right now, especially after the success of Shang-Chi, after these 2 weekends, all they would have to do, Warner Brothers would come out and say, we're not going to release this day and date on HBO Max. You're going to have to wait until, I don't know, January 31st.
Yeah.
Let's say, and give it 4 weeks at the box office. Oh, actually, it comes out. When's the release date? October. It's October, right?
I don't know. I keep getting, every time I think about the release date, I get angry at Turge because he gets to see it first.
Yeah. So I think it's October. So then, they could wait, December 1st, right? Or December 15th or whatever, and drop it 1 month later on HBO Max. If they just did that, guaranteed this film would get the second one greenlit, because in theaters it would do gangbusters in the theaters, I think. But you can't release it day and date. The day and date thing is going to hurt the movie, and I think it's going to hurt the chances of seeing the part 2. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I hope you're right, actually, because I want to see the whole thing. I mean, imagine if we only get the first part. You only get this beautiful. Finally, we get the most epic, kind of beautiful setup to this story of Dune, and all we get is half a movie. We get the first part. That would, oh man, that'd break my heart.
It would, but there's also the possibility, as I mentioned before, with Denis Villeneuve making the flops of the past. Maybe he will have the opportunity to make part 1, wait 10 years, and then revisit Dune for part 2.
Maybe. I don't want to wait 10 years.
Well, no one wants to wait. I want a Oompa Loompa now. I'm just saying that's right. Always a possibility.
That's always a possibility. All right. The new Predator movie wraps filming and reveals cast.
Cinematographer Jeff Cutter announced the news. Jeff Cutter used his Instagram account to announce the new Predator film, apparently titled Skull, has wrapped filming. Or is it Skulls now? With so little information about the upcoming movie available, Cutter's announcement might have accidentally revealed a name change for the project. At the same time, it confirms 2 new cast members involved with the production. Heavens.
Here's the picture.
Yes. Ooh.
Dan Trachtenberg is directing it. Skulls, it says, but that could just be a working title.
Yeah.
And that's all I got from that one. What did did they actually go on to say who the cast members? I didn't see any cast members revealed on that slate. So
Cutter's message thanks the great cast led by Amber Midthunder from Legion, Dakota Beavers, and Dane DeLiegro. Pardon me, I apologize.
DeLiegro? Yeah.
DeLiegro, yeah. Midthunder will be playing a female hero in the film, which will take place during the Predator's first visit to Earth, but there's no official word about Beavers and DeLiegro's parts. However, it's safe to bet that DeLiegro might be playing the Predator, as the actor is known for playing monsters in American Horror Stories and on Sweet Home.
Sweet. All right, cool. Mm-hmm. Did you watch the last Shane Black Predator movie?
I did not. That thing got so eviscerated that I didn't even want to sully Predator 2 by watching it.
Yeah, I stayed away too. And to tell you the truth, I'm not really excited about another one.
I am a huge Dan Trachtenberg fan.
Yeah.
I liked 10 Cloverfield Lane.
I do too.
I liked his short film for Predators. He's been attached to a couple of projects that have just sort of evaporated. But I like him as a personality, and I think that he is I think he's a good indie director, and I think that he'll be able to bring a little bit of life without busting the budget and thinking that he has to make some sort of weird Iron Man Predator suit.
Yeah. Speaking about Mary Elizabeth Winstead, right? Man, that 10 Cloverfield Lane was great. That was a great movie.
John Goodman was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, he was. Whew. What's next?
Knives Out 2 wraps filming, reveals director Rian Johnson.
One mystery remains: when the movie will be released. Writer and director Rian Johnson announced on Twitter that Knives Out 2 has wrapped filming. We still don't have a release date for the Knives Out 2, but the production finished. We can expect to see some of the footage of the highly anticipated sequel sooner rather than later. In his original tweet, Johnson used the announcement to compliment another filmmaker, Leos Carax, whose movie Annette premiered. That's the one with Adam Driver. Premiered as the opening feature of this year's Cannes Film Festival. Johnson tweet reads, quote, "We just wrapped production on the next Benoit Blanc mystery. And also, I finally watched Annette, and holy shit, it's amazing. Sending so much love and gratitude for our incredible crew and cast and Leo Carax. If Johnson already has the time to relax and appreciate another director's work, production must be moving on time. This is good news for everyone since it shouldn't take long for fans to watch Mr. Blanc's Daniel Craig's next adventure on Netflix."
On Netflix?
Yeah, this was a Netflix deal.
Oh, okay.
I do believe so. Knives Out 2 will release in theater, but only select theaters. So I believe it'll probably be L.A., New York, and then on Netflix. This was he got paid a outrageous amount of money to bring this to Netflix.
Well, and did you see Knives Out?
I did. I loved it.
Yeah. And again, I'm batting zero, and I'm going to blame the fans. Well, no, and I stayed away from Knives Out 2 because when Knives Out came out, it was
all the Johnson hate.
And you know what? I think I'm done with it.
Yeah.
I think I've packed up my Rian Johnson hate. I don't like Looper. I like Brick.
Brick is great.
I've learned to appreciate The Last Jedi. I still
I love The
haven't
Last
seen The
Jedi.
Brothers Bloom. I want to though.
I'm not the hugest fan of the Brothers Bloom.
But like these,
yeah,
and also it's nice to see Daniel Craig doing. It's kind of like when I see Robert Downey Jr. not be Iron Man. I like Daniel Craig as James Bond, but when he does something different, I like that too. And
Yeah.
it's a nice breath of fresh air to see this. And also, I'm a huge fan of Clue, and Knives Out has been directly associated with Clue as being like, yeah, this is the Clue of the 21st century. So I have to get around to seeing that, and I'm just gonna. I think I'm going to do it publicly. I'm going to do it now. I'm done hating Rian Johnson. I'm just done with it. That's my sense.
It got unfairly hated on, obviously, because all the little sniveling and
Hey, if you want to hate on Rian Johnson because of the subversion of expectations, or if you find that it was an absolute and total travesty of what happened to Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi, you know what? It is absolutely up to you. I can see where you're coming from, and I'm not here to fight you.
No.
There is only so much baggage that I can carry around when I'm watching a movie, and it's putting me off of watching new stuff.
You have to be able to say, okay, you have to be able to differentiate one piece of art from the other. If you cannot do that, then you're a child, and I don't give a shit about your opinion.
Or you have strong convictions and you are stubborn. And that's fine. I admire that as well. If you want to be steadfast in your dislike for a certain filmmaker, please feel free. That's great. I'm just saying, for me personally,
I mean, that's your prerogative. And and that's fine. But to go and preemptively bash something that you haven't seen yet is silly and childish. It really is.
What? Kind of like this weekend's box office bomb, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Kind of like that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
sorry, I didn't want to get.
The failure that is it, right?
So
I know it is.
I am looking forward to the next one, and from what I understand, Daniel Craig is signed for a third one as well.
Yes.
And so I can't wait to take a look at the first one and then figure out if I want to see the second one. But also,
you were talking about Daniel Craig in other roles, and I haven't always been the biggest Daniel Craig fan, and I didn't watch any of the Bond movies, right? So but he was in this great movie called Logan Lucky. Did you see Logan Lucky?
No, I haven't seen that. No, I haven't. And that's a Soderbergh flick too.
Yes, a Soderbergh movie. He's really good in this movie. In a wacky way, but he's really good in it.
You know what's funny?
So I enjoy when he pops up in other stuff. And I thought he was great as Mr. Blanc.
Mm-hmm. And you know what's funny about Logan Lucky? You know why I didn't see Logan Lucky? Because of Adam Driver, because of all the blowback for fucking Last Jedi.
Fucking really? Wow,
like, dude, I was knee deep, balls deep. I was absolutely just like, I will not support any of this. I will not do this anymore. And like,
I know there's a lot of people like that, dude. I don't understand that personally. I mean, I get it. I get why people do it, but I don't. It just doesn't make it doesn't make sense to me. It's like, okay, even if you fucking didn't, let's say you hated the movie, the Last Jedi, because you just hated it. It just didn't land for you. Whatever, you hated it. But so you don't you don't say that everybody could have a bad day at work. So he had a bad day at work. I mean, not every movie is going to be, Gone with the Wind or whatever the best movie in the world is. So you don't watch his next thing. That's kind of weird. Now I understand your hesitation because you didn't like Looper. So if you didn't like Looper, if you start getting a track record, if the only movie out of his filmography that you actually liked was Brick, then I could see I won't, maybe the Knives Out thing wouldn't be for me either. So I can understand that a little more than just, he made a bad movie last time, so I'm not going to see this movie. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, and honestly, the thing that really I don't want to get into a whole big thing. So, but there were aspects to The Last Jedi that I didn't like. Not so much the Luke Skywalker stuff, more the Princess Leia stuff.
Mm.
And also, anyway, so yeah. But I'm just saying now with Knives Out having the amazing cast that it does, it would be interesting to see with those performers, and I'm glad that they're moving forward. It's a new original franchise. Good for Johnson for having another franchise in
Right.
his resume, and yeah, Daniel Craig doing stuff. Great. I wonder if never mind. I'm not going to ask about spoilers for the first one because that's actually a movie I don't want spoiled. So
No, it's a good one. You should check it out when you get a chance.
I shall.
What's next? What's next, Steve? She-Ra, live action TV show in development at Amazon.
All right, let's muster up some faux
Right.
excitement, Scott. The project will have no connection to Netflix's animated She-Ra and the Princesses of Power series. Amazon is bringing the power of Grayskull into the real world, although I think that's not right. Or at least the live-action one. Variety reports that a live-action She-Ra series is in early development at the studio, with DreamWorks Animation attached to executive produce the show. The animation studio achieved major success with their series She-Ra and the Princesses of Power through this live-action project, though this live-action project will serve as a standalone and have no connection to the Netflix series. No writer is currently attached to the project, as it is in the earliest stages of development, but if it is officially picked up at Amazon, it would be the first live-action adaptation of the She-Ra character since her animated debut in 1985. Her fictional brother, I thought it was cousin, He-Man, was brought to life by Dolph Lundgren in 1987's In the Masters of the Universe. But so far, the most success She-Ra has seen has been with Noelle Stevenson's animated reboot.
Okay, so I put this on here because I know that we have covered Masters of the Universe here kind of extensively. You know, we had Tony and the Richard on to talk. You know, we did a 3-part series with those guys. They killed it. You know, talking about the new animated stuff over at Netflix. I thought this was interesting, but I don't really care about this. You know, if it happens, I might check in on it. I'd like to see something, you know, when I start seeing a little bit more promotional stuff. I don't really care about She-Ra. I'm not a huge Master of the Universe fan anyways. But I think I would, I'm always more pulled towards live action than animation anyways. Mm-hmm. So I will definitely probably check out at least a trailer for this and see if it piques my interest in any way. I don't think you have any interest for She-Ra, do you?
Well, and it's interesting because you say that you're not much of a fan of Masters of the Universe, and I would have called myself sort of nostalgic for it for the old show. And then when I watched Revelations, I liked it, and I'm looking forward to the second part. And so with the live action, sure, I'm interested. I'm more interested to find out what's going on with Hordak, who is the villain of the She-Ra series. I know my sister was a huge fan, so I am sort of peripherally aware of what happens with She-Ra. But
isn't Hordak in the other one too?
They cross over.
Oh, they cross over. Okay, gotcha.
You know what? And I know Richard's in the chat, and so if I'm getting any of this wrong, shame on me. Shame. But yeah, am I excited for it? No. When it pops up, will I look at it? Yeah, absolutely. Who doesn't want to see a chick? Like this is basically a new generation of Xena fans. Like you're gonna get your live action, your live action kick-ass princess. I'm fine with that. I didn't watch the animated series, but I don't think that was made for me anyway.
I don't understand. I don't understand why it's so woke and they're making She-Ra man this way. I don't know. Whatever. Kidding. Jokes. These are jokes, people. Okay. Get a big slurp. Good sip.
New Marvel Eternals images have been released.
So I'm gonna actually ask you to pull double duty on this one, if you wouldn't mind reading. I have uploaded the images, and we'll show them to the audience while you read the little paragraph there, buddy. If you don't mind.
Not at all. With the release of a new issue of Total Film and Marvel's Eternals taking the cover, the studio and the magazine have come together to release a new set of promotional photos from the film, which is coming to theaters in November from director Chloe Zhao. In the film, which just got a vote of confidence from Disney, who promised a 45-day window of exclusivity for theatrical exhibitors, will be steeped in the mythology of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The film's heroes are immortal, godlike beings who have been living secretly on Earth for thousands of years and have ties to Thanos, the villain behind Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Marvel is pretty well positioned. Not only did Shang-Chi do well, but Eternals was recently cited as the most anticipated movie of the fall. Die another day. In a poll of moviegoers. It had to beat out No Time to Die, Dune, Ghostbusters Afterlife, and Sony's Venom, Let There Be Harrelson to top the list.
That's right.
The only downside is that I didn't get to check out those images that you were.
Oh, you know what I'll do? I'll pop them right back up on there real quick for you.
Oh, he's cool. He looks cool. I saw it, and yeah, when he breaks the table, and yeah, oh, the costumes are cool. Great. Yeah, nice.
We're badasses.
Yeah.
And more badasses.
Heroes.
So yeah. Heroes, villains, heroes. So yeah, so that was cool. I mean, no big deal, but it's some images released in a new Total Film magazine. So
strike while the iron is hot. As long as people have Marvel on the mind, that's great. Have you seen Shang-Chi?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And so did they have an Eternals trailer before that?
I believe so. Yeah. So
okay.
it was that. There was two other trailers that kind of shocked me. But the biggest one being the Steven Spielberg's West Side Story, which I hadn't seen anything for, and then it just popped up there. I was like, wow, okay, and I got into that, but yeah, they did the Eternals is pretty much playing before I think every movie right now. Every movie I've seen, since I was able to go back to the theater, I've seen that Eternals.
It is interesting, and just in terms of what this is from comicbook.com, Eternals had to beat out No Time to Die, Dune, Ghostbusters Afterlife, and Venom Let There Be Carnage.
Yeah, so and that's it's a poll of moviegoers from I think from the magazine from Total Film. So I mean that's big company. I mean Dune is absolutely my most anticipated. But I know a ton of people are looking forward to No Time to Die. A ton of people are looking forward to Venom. So, I mean, for that to beat out all of that, I know in some corners, there's some real skepticism about this movie. In other corners, and I think for the general movie audience, people are pretty excited to see this movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I would, in that list, I would say that I am most excited for the order that it was listed. No Time to Die, then Dune, then Ghostbusters, then you can squeeze in Eternals, and then Venom. But it's all right. Well, hey, good for them for getting a poll of moviegoers to agree. Excellent.
Yeah, right.
Happy days.
Well, I don't know if they agreed, but they proffered their opinion. That's what they did. So we want to thank Games, Movies, and Comics R Us who subscribed to the channel.
Thank you so much.
And I think he actually did that on Friday, but let's thank him again. Thank you for sticking around. That's cool.
Absolutely.
And then Moldy Han sends in a 99-cent super chat. I think that's actually a super chat sticker. Thank you, Moldy.
Better half of Squirt Russell. Thank you so much.
All right. Should we go over the comments?
I can't wait.
I don't think we have. Okay.
The only thing I did notice in the chat, Todd Michael is here. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah. I did give a shout out to Knots Landing, but I did see in the chat for talking about Set to Stun this evening. Unfortunately, we had an injury on an away team mission, and Chandra is laid up in sick bay, so she won't be able to make it. So we are postponing. We'll be doing a very special double episode or a double review next week, discussing everyone's favorite B-tier starship.
I actually put a post about that on our channel. Mm-hmm. So you can check that out. Just says the same thing, that we're just we'll catch you back here next week. Please join us again next Monday night for probably what will be a pretty packed, loaded, longer set to stun.
Yes. Or maybe we'll just skip over the episodes and talk about our favorite 2-part episodes, because that's the meat of it. That's what we want to talk about. Todd Michael says, I won't lie, my primary form of content intake is documentaries or informational stuff over fiction. I've been loving Curiosity Stream I've recently subscribed to. Nice.
Awesome.
I've seen a lot of ads for
I
that.
really like it too. In fact, you find yourself kind of already up to date with all the cool documentaries, and you're just like waiting for a new one to drop. It's like, come on, man. So, I feel you.
Todd Michael says, I think Steve has said dude at least 10 times in the first 5 minutes of the stream. Do you tend to say dude when you're excited about something?
Apparently, yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
I do say dude a lot. Oh, thanks, dude.
No problem, dude. Todd Michael says, happy to see Shang-Chi doing well, since I want the hate before they even see it peoples to go F off.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Super sticker from Moldy. Thanks, Moldy.
Todd Michael, yes. Tractor Pants is an awesome name.
Yeah, it was really cool.
The Richard is here. Aloha, Richard. What up, my lovelies? Aloha all. And to you.
What's up, Richard?
Todd Michael, Snots Landing, shout out on the Fantasmagorium show. Woot woot.
Todd Michael's a huge Snots Landing fan.
The Richard says, I like Brian Cox, though I haven't watched his series. Same deal.
So I like both Brian Cox. Brian Cox, the actor, and Brian Cox, I believe he's a theoretical physicist.
Okay.
Who has a cool shows on he's a Brit, but he does a lot of stuff on the Discovery channels and those kind of channels, talking about the universe and the nature of the universe and some other stuff.
Cool. I'll have to check it out. The Richard says, I also prefer not to watch various shows on drug auction. I do appreciate the Prohibition era material. Yeah, I don't know. There's something about, like, when it comes to organized crime, I learned from Goodfellas a long time ago that once you get involved in drugs, things go south. It's very, very
pretty
bad.
much do, yeah.
Yeah. The Richard says, and yes, they should have filmed them both back to back, referring to Dune. Yep.
And he says, yeah, it does not bode well. Well, let's hope the marketing keeps going. I do think the marketing is more positive, although not exactly what I want to see yet. But it's a more positive step than what we saw for 2049. So let's hope that continues and they really ramp it up here before it drops.
The Richard says, not a fair shake to base the second on the first when we knew it needed to be a fuller picture. Is that in reference to the
Fingers and Sandworms Cross? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Dude, totally. Dude. Now I'm going to be self-conscious about it. Thanks.
Don't. It's fine. The Richard says, I had the original Dude board game on display when I had the Richard's cool stuff collectibles shop. Sold for about $400 way back when there was interest. Yeah, I'm not saying there isn't interest for Dune. I'm just saying if I were to ask my dad about it or my sister, if I were to ask anyone within that I have personal connections to within a 2-kilometer rating, I don't know if I would be able to get a full story as to what Dune is about. I think I would have a better idea, and I barely know. The Richard says, as great as this year's films and shows are, it's starting to frustrate me because way too much good stuff all at once. Yeah. And it is. It's pick and choose. Skulls. Total what?
Waste of time.
Really? Total waste of time? I don't know. I like Dan Trapper.
I don't know. Yeah, hopefully he can do something good. I'll wait until we see a trailer, because I knew, once I saw the trailer for the Shane Black one, I was already like sweating. I'm like, ooh, this doesn't look good. This doesn't look good. And,
but also, I think I was up here when I heard that Shane Black was directing.
Yeah, me too.
When I saw that first trailer, I was like, did they get the guys from AVP? What?
Right. Yeah.
The Richard says, I liked Looper, and the Richard, I accept your apology.
Yeah, I liked it too. So you're in good company.
Then maybe I'm the asshole.
Probably.
The Richard says there were elements I didn't care for in The Last Jedi. I really enjoyed it overall, though.
Me too.
I just don't think it's worth, burning an effigy.
I don't think so either, and I really don't. Well, that's a whole conversation.
Yeah, like we could talk. This is something we should talk to Kat about it in a bit.
Well, I'd love to, and when we launch our Star Wars show on the channel, I'll ask her to recite her like 20-minute recitation of why it's an awesome movie. When asked, the response was so beautifully crafted that it left my jaw on the floor. So,
well, and I can talk about Star Wars for the rest of the day.
Right.
The Richard says, I want in with the future conversation about She-Ra.
Of course, dude.
Top of the list. You and
Tony.
Tony are absolutely. The Richard says at this moment is still not legally about to be licensed together. And that's what I mean. They say the power of Grayskull will be unleashed. I don't even think it is. Like, She-Ra doesn't have the power of Grayskull. Anyway. The Richard says the timing might be right by the time the license is renegotiated. When we talked about that, and you talked about that as well on your the PGS All Stars show over on the Burnett Network as well. Incredible amount of knowledge when it comes to the Masters of the Universe. The Richard Hordak is my fave. Yeah, I like him better than Skeletor. He's scarier.
That's cool.
The Richard says I found out about it today. Me too. I just did too. Spew. Oh, is that for Knives Out? Maybe. The Richard, oddly, I'm not excited for the externals.
Externals.
And I don't know enough about it, but I am interested, and I'm actually interested because of Chloe Zhao and also Angelina Jolie and Salma Hayek.
The cast is good, and I'm excited to see what Chloe Zhao is going to bring to the table in this. And from what I've seen in the two trailers so far, I've really liked what I saw. It looks epic, super grand scale, Well, and we know it's covering about 1,000 years of time. So that in itself, just the kind of logistical and mental gymnastics you have to do as a filmmaker to cover that length of time in a movie that's under 3 hours is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So good.
And also, as the article mentioned, the interweaving throughout the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it'll be interesting to see. And so that piques my interest, but I really don't know much about it, which is, sometimes preferable.
Yeah.
The Richard says, hope it's great and everyone enjoys.
Me too.
No one says have a muffin. I hope it sucks.
Right.
Gundle Whittlebaum says the last 5 minutes of Venom were the only fun parts, like watching obnoxious paint dry.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't like I didn't think the movie was all that great. I like you. I enjoyed the end of it. I thought it was a movie out of time. It seemed to me like it should have been a movie that came out in the 90s, and it wasn't trying to do that. Right. It wasn't trying to be a movie that came out in the 90s. It was trying to be what we got. And it just it wasn't great. That's why I'm not too excited about the new one. I could almost care less.
Just Michelle Williams. That's all I got.
Yeah. Right.
The Richard says, ha 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 at Gundle. I found a few of my paintings of Venom and I literally watched the paint dry. The Richard says, working title bums. I still have.
Yeah, it may not be. I mean, it may still be called Skull or Skulls. It was Skull. It had been reported this whole time while they were shooting the film. And now with the Clapper saying Skulls with an S, in the plural form, that's better. I think it would be really cool if they did that. I think it's a working title, and I think we're going to get some cheese ball, and if they do, they're going to do something like this: Skulls from the Book of the Predator, or some bullshit like that, right?
Well, and even if they do, even if it's called like Predator : Skulls, or even if they switch it around, I could see them being like Predator Trophy Hunt or something.
Right.
Either way, yeah.
Just call it Skulls, man, and let's go. I don't know. That's just me.
Can't lose out on that branding.
I know, dude. I know.
Todd Michael says, I'm in on all future Knots Landing shows. Just saying, who would you
Oh, yeah.
recast? Who is your ideal future Knots Landing cast?
We're gonna do. There's no way we're gonna do a special Knots Landing show, are we?
I'm going to have to watch the whole series, Todd Michael. Jesus, it's going to be a
I guess,
weekend.
right?
I'm going to have to physically break my own leg to stay in my on my couch just to watch this shit.
I guess it depends on the outcry from the fans.
Todd Michaels says, to me, I can tell you everything you need to know about Dune. I know that. Let's deep dive into fish speakers, honored matres, and no ships.
And no ships.
Yeah, I'm sure those are all words.
Yep, they are words.
Squirt Russell, hey, Squirt. There is a show. Damn, YouTube noticed me now. I was in the middle of cleaning the floor. Well, hopefully we gave you something to listen to while you were doing so, Squirt.
Rich is throwing out some names. Predaskulls.
Predaskulls. Skuldators. Predaskullfucked.
Alrighty. This is going to be the last one I think we take for today.
Ooh, I'd pay money to see a movie about a predator hunting sexual predators. Predator, predators.
Right.
With, yeah.
With, what's his, Hanson, Mike, or whatever.
That's the guy.
Yeah. That guy got in a bunch of trouble too, didn't he? For not for that, but I think he got in a bunch of trouble for something too. Anyways, all right, Scotty. I think we'll call it a day. What do you say?
I'm with you, man. I think it's been a successful. If we stay any longer, we'll probably screw it up.
Yeah, probably. Like Scotty mentioned earlier, no Set to Stun tonight, but we will be back next Monday for a Set to Stun. A protracted Set to Stun, if you will. Tomorrow we're back. We're going to do our the regular show tomorrow, Tuesday. Wednesday night we have Martini's Gadgets and Guns. Should be a fun one.
Yep, we're doing Casino Royale.
Skipping over to the Craigs. Now we're going to get into our Craig run leading up into No Time to Die. So these next several weeks should be really fun to dig into. Thursday we're back with our show. And then Friday is going to be a special combined Cult Classic Movie Corner and the Fantasmagorium show. So we'll probably be doing a 2.5 hour show on Friday. Basically, it'll be Cult Classic Movie Corner will run right into the free-for-all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's the schedule for this week.
Humanoids from the Deep, my friends.
I'm going to have to try to watch that.
Yep.
Before Friday. Humanoids from the Deep.
I have my recreational botanicals all queued up for that movie.
Nice. Yeah, you're gonna need them. I have a sinking suspicion.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. So that's where we're at this week, and we'll let you know about any future changes to our schedule coming up next week.
Thanks for your patience for sticking with us, guys.
Yeah, we're just kind of fumble through some things, and Scotty's got a job coming up, and we just want to make sure that transition works well, and then we find a good home for the show. But until then, we'll keep doing our specialty shows, and then we'll in between we'll knock these out as much as we can, or when we can, and we don't know what time, but this week should be pretty regular. And like I said, if we don't on tomorrow and Thursday, if we're not on our regular time, it'll be later at night, more around the 6 or 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern time frame, which we do our other shows. So just kind of keep a lookout of the channel. Make sure you ring that bell so you get notified. And thank everybody in the chat. Thanks to Richard for coming out. Squirt Russell, Todd Michael, Gundle, and anybody else I may have missed. Kind of light on the chat today, but that's fine. Yeah. Anyways, Scotty, should we call it good for the day?
Let's go.
All right, buddy. I love doing the shows with you, man, and we'll see you tomorrow for another episode of the Fantasmagorium Show. Mm-hmm. So for Scotty R37, I am Steve Foley. Have a great day, everybody.
See you guys.